What's going on? Welcome back. Haters, lovers, incomers, outgoers, friends, family. Thank you for tuning in once again to JKDM Cooking. Today we got a special video for y'all. Simple mac and cheese, not as exquisite as I usually make it, but something simple to get it out of the way. Later on I'll be making a different mac and cheese video, but thank you for getting this far in the video. Let's get into it. Oh wait, almost forgot. Follow me on my socials.
And welcome back, everybody. It's your boy JKDM Cooking. We're making a simple mac and cheese. There are ingredients you can grab from your fridge and everything. But here's my utensils and ingredients. Let's get into it. Alright, so I have a bigger pot here since I'm making about a pound of mac and cheese. You know, mac and cheese or the noodles actually swell up. You can use different sizes, but for the amount of mac and cheese I'm using a bigger pot. So right here I have two bowls, a smaller one to mix my wet ingredients, then the bigger one to actually put the mac and cheese and the wet ingredients so I can dump in the pan easier later on.
A strainer. I like to use a strainer with my mac and cheese. Some people like to take the pot and dump the water directly into the sink, but it's not as safe.
So I'm a simple dude. I use a plastic fork to whisk my eggs, something simple. I also use a serving spoon to get all the mac and cheese out of the pot to put in my disposable tray. Also a spatula to get all the cheese and sauce and mixing my mac and cheese. Also, just a simple disposable tray that you can get from Walmart for a couple dollars. Comes in like a 4-pack. So now, we're gonna get into the ingredients that I use to make the mac and cheese. So like I said, I'll be making a pound of mac and cheese. I like to use whole grain noodles. Elbow noodles probably prefer with mac and cheese, but that's what I do with it. So anybody can use any type of pasta or noodle. It all depends on what you want to do. Like I said, it's a very simple recipe, so I'll be using shredded cheddar that I had in my fridge from like Walmart or something. But usually I put like 6 different types of cheeses. Right now I just had like a mozzarella and a Mexican blend, and you'll see later on in the video that I just threw a little something. So 3 eggs. I use the eggs to keep all the noodles and everything together so they won't be separated. You'll see later on in the video what I'm mixing and making my little sauce. But it all depends on what you want to do. Some people use eggs, some people don't. You can do what you want in the recipes. So these are my 3 spices that I use for my mac and cheese. Sometimes I use onion powder just to kick up the flavor a little bit. Also, I use cracked pepper. Again, it's something simple, just to enhance the flavor a little bit. I use Lawry's seasoning salt because it has enough sodium for regular salt, so you don't really have to do much for it. And Lawry's always kicks up the flavor of anything, essential for most of my cooking. And Pam, just a little non-stick stuff where you go on your tray, so it won't stick to the sides and everything. Almond milk is my secret ingredient. I use almond milk for almost all my cooking. I don't use regular dairy products. I'll show y'all later on how I incorporate it into my cooking. Now I'm gonna go into the most important ingredient of this entire cooking video. That motherfucking drink. So first things first, filling up our pot with water to get it heated and boiled up. You don't want to put too much water in it because your water can boil over when the noodles start to get ready, but also you don't want to put too little that you're going to burn your noodles. So I filled it up about halfway to give it a little room because your noodles are going to swell up. Alright, so I got the pot filled up with the water. I haven't started the stove up yet, but I'm going to show y'all a little trick that I use for my noodles before I even start cooking anything. I take my disposable tray, and then I take my elbow noodles and I throw it in the tray. So what it should do, if you have the right amount, since I have 1 pound, it should fill up at least the bottom. You shouldn't see as much spaces, but as you cook your noodles, they're going to start to swell. And when they swell, it's gonna start, expanding. So it should take about a quarter of the bottom or the entire tray. So when you're done cooking, they should be right. All right, so now we're gonna get the water to a boil. The burners aren't that good where I'm cooking at, so what I'm doing is gonna put it on the high, wait till it gets to a bubble, but also what I like to do is salt the water. So salting the water can add a little flavor to the noodles. They're gonna be boiling in with the noodles of salt, so it gives a little flavor to them. All right, now that your water's to a boil, what you wanna do is take your elbow noodles and add it to the water. Always pour away from you though, because you don't want any splashing going on you. You can get hurt, whatever it is. But after you add your noodles to the water, you want to start stirring, because stirring is going to keep your noodles from sticking to each other. Continue to stir throughout the process too, because if you don't stir, they're going to stick, they're going to start breaking apart. Then you're going to have mashed mac and cheese, which is not a fucking thing. All right, I've been cooking the noodles for about 5 minutes now. The burners, like I said, aren't the best, but you want to continue to stir your noodles so they won't stick to each other. Also, they won't stick to the bottom of the pan, because that's something that happens. That's why you also want to salt it so it won't stick. Always check the condition of your noodles too. So what I'm gonna take is my little ladle, and I'm gonna grab some of the noodles to see. They're obviously not done right now, but continue to check the conditions of them. Alright, so now that my noodles are almost done, what I'm gonna end up doing is preheating my oven. So preheating the oven while probably a good 375, I'll put it on. While it's preheating now, what I can do is start making my sauce and getting the noodles ready for the oven. Alright, so noodles are done now. What we're gonna do is strain the water out of the noodles. So sometimes a little trick I like to do is to take a bite of one of the noodles to see if they're actually done, but always pour away from you, because if you don't, water splashes back on you, is gonna fuck you up. But get that last noodle out. You're gonna see the salt helps keep all the noodles from sticking to the bottom of the pot. Strain now. There it is. Now that we are done with the noodles, now I can start making my sauce. So first things first, we're gonna beat our eggs. I got my 3 eggs right here, put in a bowl. I like to season every step I go through. Just a little bit of seasoning so we don't add too much flavor, because y'all probably can't handle that. All right, so first things first, we're gonna crack our eggs. Skill, no shell in this thing. This might be the 13th try. Just kidding, I don't have enough money for that. But we crack our 3 eggs into the bowl, and watch the wrist work when I start whisking these eggs. Some people can't handle this stuff, so viewer's discretion is advised after this. Man. No, but you want to get your eggs nice and whisked and everything. You don't have to beat them till they're really, really thin, but you want to get them to, at least breaking the yolk. So after I'm done whisking my eggs, what I'm gonna do is just add a little bit of seasoning to the Lowry's, who knows? A little bit of Lowry's, a little bit of the pepper. Gonna mix it in. Like I said before, I like to season as I go. So we're seasoning with every step. Dry noodles with dry seasoning. So now I'm putting in cracked black pepper, a little heavy on it. Again, it's a pound of mac and cheese, so you want to make sure that you can add 2 later on too. Put a little Lowry's. Little onion powder. Just to add a little bit to the flavor. One of the things I like to add to paper crocks. A little olive oil just to keep it from sticking as much, and a little bit of flavor to it. So after we're done done adding all our ingredients, we're gonna mix it all together. Make sure we get it nice and mixed. Showing a little love to all the noodles. You can see how much they swelled up also. Swell up. Hey, I'm not a teacher. So now that everything's seasoned, I like to taste the noodles, see if it's seasoned right. I think it's perfect. But now we're gonna start adding our wet ingredients, the egg mixture. This is what I call my sauce. So we got our egg mixture going in. That's why I use this type of spatula to get all the eggs out from the side and everything, all the extra seasoning that sticks to the bowl and everything. Now that we got all that in, we're gonna mix it up. Mix it up nice and well. And the eggs is always to keep it together. Get everything nice and wet. So now that we're done mixing the eggs in, we're gonna put that little bit of almond milk in. So settle the eggs and everything so the eggs won't be too eggy, It kind of disperses it out. Some people like to use heavy cream. Some people like to use, 2% milk or half and half and everything. I use almond milk because I don't really mess with regular milk like that. So now we're gonna mix that in. You can see the consistency is not as thick because when we add the cheese, it's gonna actually keep together. And to let you know, the noodles are still hot, so the cheese can melt. All right, so now we got our macaroni, milk, and eggs, cheese. It's gonna be added to the mixture, and you wanna add the cheese as you go. So like I said, the macaroni is still hot, so it's gonna start melting as it go before you put it in the pan. So now I grab my pan, I'm gonna add that pan to it so it doesn't stick to the sides of the actual pan when it's cooking. You get a nice layer. But now what we're gonna do is take our cheese, add most of it to the mixture. Just add as you go. I wish I had a little more. You'll see later on that I add a little more cheese to the top, but leave a little bit for the top. So, now we're gonna mix it. Extra nice. All right, so now I have my cheese. I can go on top of the mixture. We're gonna add the mixture to the pan now. And I just want y'all to take a look at how good this is. Oh my goodness. Like I said, the noodles were hot, so it started to melt. You can see that the eggs is basically keeping it together. It's almost like a loaf in a sense, which is the weirdest thing to say about pasta, but it's like a little macaroni loaf. All right, now that the macaroni is in the pan, we're gonna take this little bit of cheese that we have left and throw it over the top. But like I said earlier, I didn't have enough cheese, so I just went in my fridge and saw what cheese I had. I had a little mozzarella left, and I'm gonna throw it around the corners. Make sure all the corners get love, because who the fuck wants that amount of cheese? I want that thing cheesy. It's gonna look white in the end, but trust me, the flavor is all there. So I'm gonna try to grab that little piece. I'm a terrible person sometimes. I covered a little bit of tin foil so that it can cook well. But what I'm gonna end up doing is put it at the bottom, and when it cooks slowly and almost like smoking it in a sense, you're gonna take off the tin foil and put it at the top. Like I said earlier, this is it. I threw a little bit extra cheese on the top so it can get a little gooier. As you can see, no noodles are really showing. So here it is.
I'm just gonna be mumbling over everything. So I got my boy Maurice with me. He's gonna try it out real quick. He's gonna give you a 100% reaction to see how it is. So let's do it.
Gotta pray first, you know what I'm saying? Okay. Okay, alright, Bob's.
First pot of summer pot.
Spit this shit out real quick.
You feel me? No, I know I does.
I'm a go good, bro. What kind of cheese this is, man? You know I gotta keep 1,000 cheeses. Man, you feel me? I keep it that way, you feel me? And I always do about a pound. Oh Lord, technical difficulties trying to eat this shit. Get me off with me. I'm good, you feel me? They don't Jesus, bro.
I'm on board urban training out right now. It's not gonna show your face, so I'm not gonna
Boy.
that boy eating his hand out of there. You feel me?
Sorry, I didn't cut. You got the monkey. The best message I ever had, I was gone. Hey, now my mother gonna see this. Hey, no cap. Do the West, please. This thing is amazing.
Ooh, hey. If you liked it, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Make sure you follow on my social medias. I appreciate everyone that watched the video. Can't wait to keep putting out content. Stay tuned.